Good morning, everybody. How you doing? This is your boy Gerald. It is October 21st, 2013. How was your weekend? I hope it was fun, safe, and protected, as it should be. Now we're starting, let me turn this down a little bit. Now we're starting a new week. I hope that for those who are in a period of reflection, that you had some breakthroughs, or things are starting to make sense in your progression in embracing who you're destined to be. If anything, this is an ongoing process to authenticate who you are. It's your life, and it's why not have the best life that is intended for you. So, like everything, like a filter, we're starting to sift through our flaws. Well, I hope your weekend was great. I know here in Virginia Beach, we actually had a nice blissful morning, and fall is the time of year that I really like embracing, because this gives us it gives me an opportunity to pull out my clothes. I'm a winter guy. I like dressing. That's who I am. But it also gives you a time of reflection of looking back at where you've been, what you've accomplished, what things that you've challenged you mentally, and even on an emotional sense, and having the spark of optimism of what's to come. I know some of you maybe are starting to do some assessment in regards to your environment. I congratulate you on that. I truly do, because what is taking place is you're having the mind, body, spirit connection. You're starting to understand and see your worth with not taking a position of ego, not allowing what you're experiencing to be clouded by pride, because pride will only deny you or distract you from the things that are intended. So I started my day, I went off to class and back, and I wanted to put this out this morning for someone. I had this feeling in my spirit that, first of all, if you are in a position where you feel like you're having all these influx of memories that may have caused you to feel guilt, even shame to a degree, because you may have experienced something and you thought, because of how it was being perceived, you're frustrated, because you're like, how could I have been so naive? Listen, let me tell you something. I've come to understand this thus far in my journey, as long as I've been on this planet. See, everything that you're going to experience, may it be good or bad, it has already been predestined for you to experience, so that not only will you get the lesson, but you'll also understand what is needed to govern your life. See, you'll eventually get to a period of harmony within yourself. The only way that can happen is that you truly do what is needed to love yourself. That may mean you have to take a step back, and whatever your focus was, whatever that was taking up your time but was not yielding a positive result, you've got to look at what those emotional triggers may have been. What gravitated you towards that focus? And sometimes you may have even known that that was not good for you. However, because of the fact that there was how it was manifested, you looked at it as a challenge. All that was ego. That was all that was. So don't beat yourself up from that. But it is important, and it is your responsibility to hold yourself accountable. Now, I want you to understand something. The whole purpose of why you're here on this planet is the foundation of love. But you cannot exhibit love nor receive love until you love yourself. I know somebody's saying, "But Gerald, that's all you talk about." Well, listen. When you truly step from a position where you're not afraid, where that fear of accepting what is needed, not only depending on where you are in your life, you'll either yield your true calling of why you're here, but you'll also know what's needed. You know how the proverbial saying goes, each one teach one? Well, you have a responsibility of towing the line. However, you must also be cautious of those that only want to ride on that line. There are some people, unfortunately, that will not get it, will not change, and will take a mindset of, if it's not broke, I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off. For those people, when you've truly identified those people, do not take a position of spite, of vindictiveness. The best thing that you can do is you pray for them. And with that being said, if I'm talking to you right now, if you do not have a spiritual connection in your life, I suggest that you consider that as an option. Now, I'm a firm believer of saying this. He, Source, my higher power is my Lord Jesus Christ. That's how I know Him. But He is one of many names. And one of your greatest connections of intimacy is your relationship with your higher power. It took me over 25 years to learn that. This is something that you cannot buy. That's why retail therapy does not work. There are some of you right now that have got things that you bought in impulse because there was something lacking that you were trying to fill a void for. That void was loving yourself. So first and foremost, no, you weren't got, you weren't duped, you just were not informed. See, now you're starting to see what it costs to wear your name. And it's a beautiful price. Because see, the person that you're going to be in the future is not the person that you are now. There is going to be a sifting process that has to happen. That is why I say there are some people that are in your reality now, that are from your past, that will not have the ability or will not have the right to see who you are going to become. However, we all have free will. We do. But there is a disclaimer with that. See, even though you have free will, you must protect that. That's no different than, not to sound crass, the same thing you would have done in your development when it came to your virginity. You just didn't up and give it to anybody. For the most part, we waited for the right one, or what we thought our perception was of the right one. But this is human nature. We learn through experience, and we foster wisdom from the insight that comes from it. So, with that in mind, if you had a hard weekend, you've been beating yourself up emotionally, because we as human beings, we are our worst critics. No one can say or do anything more than we can do to ourselves. Try to take that issue, because really it's nothing but a distraction. Take a step back, write down what the issue you have, and try to come up with 3 solutions. But this must be pertaining you, not anyone else, because you have no control over what they're going to do. You don't. All you can do is pray for them and hope with faith that they will change. They will get it. And that's all that's required, because at that point you let go of that burden. You let it go. You give it to your higher power. And if it's divinely meant, in the right time and moment, because you got to understand, your higher power will move you where you need to be to receive what is needed for you. Because we're spiritual beings first. But first, we must be true to thyself. That is why I say energy out is energy in. That's where the balance comes into it. But also, you've got to be humble. You've got to, these are the things that are needed for your self-worth. I mean, how many times have we seen someone that has come into our life and they just blew us away by what came from their mouth, what they looked like, or maybe what they possessed, but to only find out through time that that was all a facade. Can't do that. Can't do that. Because slow and steady wins the race. That's why that proverbial Rome was not built in a day. That's why the Great Pyramids are still standing. Because they took the time to think before they had action. But before they could actually think and have action, they manifested what they wanted to do. They took that time to develop a flow, a pattern, and they manifested the end result because it was fostered by their faith. And I really believe each and every one of you deserve the life that you're intended. However, as I mentioned in the other video I put out last week, it is very important that you have courage through the period of time that there's uncertainty. This is when it is very important that you discern, because that spiritual compass that is found within your spirit will never betray you. It will never do it. And the more and more that you discern, the more and more that you embrace your faith. My mouth is not working this morning. Your faith, as well as put the steps in authenticity. My mouth doesn't want to work. You know what I'm saying? The more that you focus on yourself and do what's required, because there's only one you, I guarantee you, if you do everything from A to Z, you'll get the reward intended for you if it's pure. And I said if, because let's not sleep on this. The devil is a liar. He's going to test you. He's going to bring something in the midst to challenge the way you think, because he doesn't want you to see who you're going to be. That's why we have phases of synchronicity. or serendipity. These serve as spiritual markers to let you know through validation you're going in the right direction. That's how you know. Also, not to go a little deeper, but you have your angels and your spirit guides that will always make sure that you are going down your proper path. And when you decide to deviate, or if you allow your ego to, put the old block in front of your judgment, well, unfortunately, these are where lessons come into play, not to punish you, but to guide you back to where you should be. And depending on how much that you decide to resist, the more intense that experience will be. So don't do that to yourself. Do not. Do not. You love yourself. So for that person that may be having challenges in communicating how they feel, you're going to be alright. Okay, King? Alright, my kings? That's one of our biggest challenges as men. We have issues communicating how we truly feel. Instead of doing so, we project what we want to feel. And you speak from the heart, speak your truth, you can't go wrong. Lastly, make this week a week of change. If there's something that you've been contemplating on trying differently, make this the week that you embark in it. If it's purely for your benefit, purely now, can't be doing it under deceptive ways, because you'll be able to do that, but you're going to pay a price that you don't want to really pay. But make this the week. Make this the week that you are taking that first step closer to your destiny. And also, I'm going to throw a disclaimer out too. As I mentioned before, as you know, that old devil, he's about kill, will, and destroy. That lying in the wait. The only downside of doing what you're trying to do is you'll notice this. You'll notice the tone from your family, friends, or those or someone that may try to have access without paying the price. Watch. What is happening is they don't understand what's going on. And they're not supposed to, because it's your life. Don't worry about it. If it's truly meant for you to have, it will be given. And it shall be reciprocated. But if you're finding yourself in a position of constant battle, or it feels like you're not being understood, number one, look at the approach of how the message is being given out. Number two, whatever you're trying to do, ask this one question. If I was on the other end of receiving this, would I accept it? And number three, what is the ultimate goal in what I'm trying to do? Will this have a price bigger than I'm willing to pay? At the end of the day, y'all, you should have a peaceful week. But take the steps. Take the steps in authenticating who you are. Because you're a beautiful person. You are. It don't matter what the sheep and what the wolves in sheep's clothing and keep telling you and doing. Don't trip on that. Because let me tell you something too, woman. Ooh, true. My queens. You know what men find very appealing amongst the other things that I mentioned? Yes, fellas, I'm going to tell them. They find it very, very appealing to see a woman that's doing it on her own, authentically. We love that. We love that. Because that tells us you see your worth. And I think in return, that's why you interact with men. You won't interact with somebody that doesn't know who they are, that's not going anywhere. You'll sidestep that quick. Energy out is energy in. So, I hope you have a blessed week. Always put your higher power in everything first before in everything you do. Mine is my Lord Jesus Christ. Don't sweat the negative. Don't do it. Stay prayed up. If you have any questions, concerns, by all means, reach out to me, and if I can help you out, I would love to do so. And as I always say, God's praying for you. I am too. Because I see my worth. Because I see yours. Stay protected. Stay blessed, y'all. Have a beautiful week. Bye.